But really, goals and dreams and purpose and destiny don't ultimately bring lasting fulfillment and satisfaction and answers to our deepest desires. Only God can fill those deepest desires of significance and being known and feeling like we're enough and all of those things. Those answers are found in your relationship with God and what He will do at the deepest core of who you are.
Welcome to the Called Forth podcast, and this is your season of awakening and activation.
Hello, and welcome to this episode of the Called Forth podcast. I'm going to be talking today about preparing your mind to achieve a goal. And this topic even came into display in my own life as I was preparing to film this. And it all the more reiterated the need that there is to not just go after a goal, but even prepare your mind to be able to pursue a goal. And the reason is sometimes that stopping point for the goals that we're going after begins even in the preparation stage of leading to the goal. Before you ever step foot in the field, you can already be talking yourself out of what you think you're supposed to be doing. And so we want to get really clear on what you can do to prepare your mind to achieve that goal. So when those things come and the challenges and the second guessing and the questions and the doubt come at you, you're going to be more prepared to press through that so that you can continue on and continue forward towards your goal. And just like if you listen to any professional athlete or motivational person talk about going after something, there is a lot to be said about getting your mind straight and getting in the zone of the greater work that's ahead of you that you know you want to pursue and do. And the reason you want to prepare your mind to achieve a goal is number one, so you can simply be more effective in achieving that goal, because the discouraged version of you is going to show up different than the healed, whole, happy version of you. The defeated or broken version of you is going to show up very different than the you that's motivated and ready and prepared. And so with this in mind, we need to understand that the path to a goal has a preparation and foundation stage. And so where you're at mentally and what you can do to get yourself in that righted place, that aligned place, is going to be these next things that I'm going to be talking about in this episode. The steps that I'm going to be laying out can be done in any order, but this is the order I feel like makes the most sense in sequence. And the very first one we're going to be talking about is asking God to reveal any brokenness, any broken belief systems, any blind spots that are hindering you from moving forward. You know that scripture that says, "My people perish for a lack of knowledge," or the phrase, "You don't know what you don't know," or "When I know better, I do better." These phrases have some significance in them. And it's because we can sometimes operate out of ignorance or blindness or brokenness perspective-wise and not really know why or the root of what really has us bound in this place we find ourselves in. So it is so important to carve out that time with God to really dive deep in Him and ask for His revelation and insight and wisdom into any places in your life that you need some inner healing or you need some unraveling of lies or manipulation that may have you bound up in things that are not serving you to help you move forward. And it's in that time of prayer and developing your spiritual life with Christ that will bring you more fruit than you could ever do on your own. You can work for years and years and years, toiling and toiling and toiling. But if you do that to the neglect of your spiritual walk, you will find that you would have been so much better off really getting in that quiet place with God and dealing with any of the internal things and mindset perspectives. You will have done yourself no favors in the process. And so what we want to do when we're going after dreams and goals is be that much more effective. And how you do that, at least in part, is making what is important a priority. And your spiritual life is and should be a priority. And oftentimes, sometimes, at times, the way that we are looking at the world can either hinder us or propel us forward. So we want to make sure that our mindset is right, that we are dealing with anything we need to deal with as far as like internal healing, limiting beliefs, and perspective. We want to deal with the roots of any broken belief systems. And as you do this, it will help you lead into the next thing that I'm going to be talking about, which is peeling back the layers to the deepest desires of why you're really pursuing the goals that you're pursuing, with the intention of identifying if you may be unintentionally seeking that goal to fulfill something in your life, a deeper desire in your life that really only God is meant to fulfill. And this is why it's so important, because when we're going after the dreams and goals that we have set in our lives, sometimes we're doing that intentionally or unintentionally from a place of brokenness, assuming or thinking that when we get there, we will finally feel happy or like we're living in our purpose. Because maybe the underlying desire for that goal really is we want to be seen or known or heard or significant or any number of things. But really, goals and dreams and purpose and destiny don't ultimately bring lasting fulfillment and satisfaction and answers to our deepest desires. Only God can fill those deepest desires of significance and being known and feeling like we're enough and all of those things. Those answers are found in your relationship with God and what He will do at the deepest core of who you are. You hear so many people when it comes to goals talking about finding your why, and this kind of ties into this piece as well. What is your why? Why are you really pursuing this goal? Peel back the deepest layers of what is really there, so that as you pursue your goal, your mindset is going to be right from the very beginning, to not be seeking for that goal to fulfill something that it's ultimately not going to fulfill in you. And so this is going to take some prayer, some time, some intentionality, and it may be something that you revisit again and again as you continue to pursue the goal. Because lies, when we deal with them, don't just stop one time, where we deal with them and then all of a sudden we never deal with a lie or a limiting belief or a manipulation of the enemy. Because I will tell you, if the devil knows he has already gained traction from you in the past in one area of your life with maybe a specific lie, he will try that lie over and over again at different points in your life. So we want to be intentional in our mindset and how we're preparing our mind to achieve a goal, that we recognize his tactics and don't fall victim to lies that we've dealt with in the past. The third thing that we want to do to get our mind prepared to achieve a goal is to get excited and get expectant for what is ahead. And also, in the same breath, be prepared for whatever timeline awaits, because it is so often these unmet expectations that throw us into discouragement and despair and defeat. And those things are distracting towards your goals. So in order to combat that, if we can get really clear with our expectations, it helps to divert us from this path of discouragement, despair, and defeat. And several months ago, I was wrestling with this topic that I felt like God was impressing on my heart of releasing expectation, but being expectant. And for me, what that really meant was releasing the timeline for how things were going to happen, when they were going to happen, but be expectant and live in hope and faith and belief that He would open those doors that were meant to be opened. And at the same breath, if things weren't happening as fast as I wanted them to, I also had to trust that He was working all things out for my good. So these are like two opposing viewpoints that we have to sometimes wrestle in the tension of being expectant, but releasing expectation. And I really believe this is a lifelong journey. It's constant intentionality to not succumb to despair and defeat, and be expectant by faith, by trust, declaring and knowing that He has good things for us, but not being bogged down by the realities of life when things don't unfold often the way that we had hoped that they would. And this simply is not always easy, but it's ultimately a part of the journey of life where we learn to manage this place, I believe, better over time as we grow and we mature and we gain experience and wisdom. And not that it's ever not difficult to some degree, but that we can come to this place where we learn to fight at a higher and higher level. Number 4, I want you to think about what gets you in the zone as you're preparing for a goal. I know for me, daily in the morning, I'm drinking my green tea, I'm getting that caffeine, and I'm getting my headspace right. I've had my prayer time, and I'm ready to go after the goals after I have done these specific things that help get me into the right place mentally. So you can think for yourself, are you a morning person, an evening person? Do you feel the most energy in the middle of the day, beginning, end? Like, think about what gets you in the zone, what helps you feel like you're at your peak mentally to really go after those dreams and the goals that you have. And this really ties back to how you show up. Like if you are in the zone in your mind, you are likely going to show up different than the tired or the discouraged version of you. So this is an extra step and an extra layer, but it is so worth the effort to make it happen. Number 5, break down your goals into manageable steps. Steps that are so simple, you have no excuses not to do them. And the reason why you do this in order to prep your mind to achieve that goal is because sometimes we think of goals and they feel so overwhelming, they feel so huge, and we don't even know how to tackle them. But if we can take apart our goals one piece at a time, break them down into manageable steps, and then achieve each step by step by step, it gives you that adrenaline rush, that motivation, those results that will keep you coming back again and again to eventually get to that end culmination of achieving your goal. Now, my bonus tip for something that you can do to prepare your mind to achieve a goal is look for patterns in what you do. Where do you feel like your energy gets the most drained when you're pursuing your goal? Where do you feel like you get the most energy as you're pursuing your goal? And this is important and valuable, number 1, through a lifetime, to recognize what are your passions, what are the things that you enjoy, what are the pieces of goal getting that appeal to you the most? What tasks drive your energy up and just excite you and make you feel alive? What are the things that you just would never want to do again? They will make you want to rip your hair out. Because as you move forward in preparing your mind for a goal, you can begin to think about what are the pieces you can spend some more time on, and what are the pieces that maybe you can delegate or learn how to reframe or do in a way that doesn't drain your energy so much. It is really strategic to think in this way about what gives you energy versus what drains your energy, so that when you're preparing your mind to achieve a goal, you can set up some expectancy to know, okay, I have to be really intentional with this piece because it kind of drains my energy. I need to be at my top of my game. And you can do those things that help prepare you for those specific pieces of the goal-getting journey that maybe used to derail you, but now because you're intentional to know what they are, you'll be intentional to know how to work through them. And now I'd love to know, what are your best tips and advice for preparing your mind to achieve a goal? You can leave a comment on the video version of this podcast on YouTube, direct message me on Instagram or Facebook, and let me know what are your best takeaways from the episode and what are your tips for preparing your mind to achieve a goal. See you next week.
That's all we've got for this episode of the Called Forth podcast. One thing that would really help both us and other new potential listeners is for you to rate this show and leave a comment in iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you tune in to listen. Also, make sure to link up with us at www.dawntown.com. That's DAWNTOWNE.com. And on social media. And please just share. Share this podcast with anyone who you think might enjoy it. Until next time, remember, you have been called forth.